Hey guys, welcome to Inspirations for Your Life. Actually, good morning, I should say. Getting this show out a little bit late, but before I am heading the pillow tonight, I do want to welcome you, whether you're here at 12:13 a.m., 12:13 p.m., or 3 a.m., 3 p.m., or 6 a.m., or 6 p.m., doesn't really matter. Thank you so much for being here. Really do appreciate you guys making the choice to make Inspirations for Your Life a part of your daily routine. Our master topic for the week is realizing your potential to achieve. We're on Series 3, Show 23. And the granular topic for tonight is unlocking your inner potential, transforming perception into reality. Series 3, Show 23, Episode 3. So first thing is potential comes from perception. So understanding that our perceptions create our reality, okay, which we'll learn here in a minute. But just knowing our potential comes from our perceptions. And we can shift basically our perceptions by where our mind is currently focused. By the way, don't forget to visit believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. And don't forget to follow me on TikTok and also subscribe. Definitely do that, ladies and gentlemen. So potential. We know potential with energy. Like if you take a rubber band, for example, I have a rubber band? Yes, I do. Take a rubber band. And there are two types of energy. You know, you're getting a science class here today. So you have potential and you have kinetic. So here's potential energy, right? I'm going to hold this and I'm going to let go. And it's going to turn from potential into kinetic. Let me do that again for you guys, okay? So potential goes into kinetic. So knowing that a perception is what shapes a potential that we have the ability to achieve. Knowing that from that, our perceptions become a reality. There's a powerful link between what you perceive and what you will achieve. You know, I always say you have to believe before you achieve, but before you can believe, you've got to perceive something, right? Maybe you've got to perceive that you can win the race. Maybe you've got to perceive that you can lose weight. Maybe you've got to perceive that you're going to be financially successful. So you got to perceive it first. And then your brain starts to work and say, you know what? I can do that. I know exactly what I got to do. I'm just perceiving my reality. That's what I'm doing. And so in order to do this well, you have to realize that the link between the connection of perceiving something and achieving something is so vital. If you perceive that you are, let's say, a great singer, well, you're going to be a great singer because you're going to do the types of things that a good singer would do. If you perceive yourself as being a good baseball player, eventually you'll become a good baseball player. Now, practical tips are important to help us mold our perception and align it to our goals, or I like to say our promises. So how can we mold our perceptions? Well, one thing we can do is we can actually focus on the present. We can envision things in our minds, the outcomes. It doesn't necessarily have to be all the steps, but the outcome, like maybe you're going to put an outcome of you winning the race, right? You don't have to have everything in the race that you did, but you're just going to picture the end, right? The end result. Knowing that you have the ability to change and shape your perceptions means that you have the ability or the potential to change the direction and to change how successful you are with achieving your desires and aspirations in life. See, that's what it comes down to, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it comes down to. And so thinking about this for a moment, what else can you think about to explain, that's really what I want to talk about, to explain, okay, perceptions being reality. And so perception is a powerful tool. It shapes our understanding of the world around us. It gives us a lens to which we can see the world. Almost like, we put lenses on a camera, or we put filters, let's say on microphones, or we apply them to video effects to give us certain things in the software so that we can output exactly what we want. Understanding this and knowing that the biases that we might have can be adopted, changed, and molded based on an objective viewpoint. So cognitive bias and belief influence how we perceive information. We tend to gravitate and favor information that is in alignment with our existing beliefs. And when we choose to become aware of these beliefs or biases, we challenge and expand our perspective. I like to say this is part of our neuroplasticity. Emotional influence plays a significant role in shaping our perceptions. Emotional state can lead to more optimistic perceptions, while negative emotions can cloud our judgment. And practice emotional regulation, because this will make or break you. And when you have a positive attitude, it makes you feel better because it actually affects the chemicals in your body. It affects the dopamine being replaced into your body. Self-talk, our internal dialogue or self-talk, greatly influences our perceptions. Our positive self-talk can enhance our confidence, strengthen it, and give us a different outlook, while negative self-talk can limit our potential, reframe negative thoughts into positive ones, and this will allow us to shift our perceptions and outcomes. Now, what I want to share with you is that this doesn't happen overnight, and don't be discouraged, because it takes time for this to actually happen, okay? Hello there, MD. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Really appreciate you being here. We're here just about every single day with content, and we roll out about 18 other pieces of content, including on TikTok and Instagram and so many other places, which you can check out, by the way, and for our viewers at believemeachieve.com. Thank you so much for subscribing. So when we think about this whole thing of perceptions, another thing that can affect us very, very strongly is what we say to ourselves. Our social and cultural factors. We can expose ourselves to diverse perspectives and cultures that can broaden our understanding and horizons, and of course, enrich our worldview to be able to see more of a potential. The power of visualization, which I talk about all the time, it allows us to create a mental image of our desired outcomes. But don't worry about the steps you need to do to the outcome. Just picture the end result. This practice alone can rewire our brain to perceive the outcomes as achievable, and thus influence our actions and decisions toward realizing them. Remember, when we realize things, right, we understand that realization, which we talked about before, comes from something very, very, yes, yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that and the welcome. Realizing your potential to achieve. Potential, okay, comes from perceptions. Perceptions then shape our reality. And the awareness enables us to change who we are. Mindfulness and awareness and practicing it daily will help us to stay present, observe our thoughts without judgment, and be aware, because this will enable us to notice when our perceptions are skewed, off balance. Have you ever maybe played sports and maybe you were kind of off balance, or maybe if you played soccer, you were off sides? I know for the longest time when I was playing soccer and I was on a championship team, I was very fortunate that when I was younger. What is offsides in soccer? So I'll try to explain this. So there's a rule It's caused when an attacking player is closer to the goal line than the second to last defender at the time a pass is made. So a player must be even or in front of the second to last defender at the time the ball is kicked to be on sides. Let me say this again. The player must be even or in front of the second to last defender at the time the ball is kicked. So a player is in an offside position if any part of the head, body, or feet is in the opponent's half, excluding the halfway line. And any part of the head, body, or feet is nearer to the opponent's goal line than both the ball and the second last opponent is another way. So how do you explain offsides? Because it seems a little bit confusing. Again, it has to be known as there are no defenders, okay? And if there are no defenders, there's only one defender, the ball becomes the offside. Again, if there are no defenders, okay, and there's only one defender, the ball becomes offsides. Okay, that's very, very important. So how do you avoid offsides in soccer? So the best way to avoid offsides is to beat the offside trap is to run at angles through the holes in the defense. And it makes it easier to stay on the outside shoulder of the one of the defenders and take off when the pass is about to be made. There are 3 exceptions where offsides will not be called. During a corner kick, a goal kick, or a throw-in. You can't be offsides in a corner kick, a goal kick, or a throw-in. Okay? If the other team kicks the ball to you while you are in an offside position, you will not be called offsides. So I think this can be a little confusing, but hopefully this is maybe explained a little bit clearer to you. We have offsides in football and other sports, but I was explaining this to you because of a very important reason. And that reason is that noticing this fact, okay, can shape how the game plays out. Now, your feedback, and I like to say your consistent, constructive feedback to other players and also to yourself. That's right, you should give yourself feedback. Seek feedback from others, but get feedback from your mind. Ask yourself questions like, is this the right way? And when you do this, the practice empowers continuous growth and alignment with true potential. Okay? A famous quote from Anja Znin, we don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. Another great quote by Roger Dawson. The reality of life is that your perceptions, right or wrong, influence everything else you do. So again, if your perceptions are wrong, which that can happen, then you have to change that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I work very hard, Dr. Abil, to create content that is going to not only be compelling, but is going to be what I call nuggets of powerful information. I also have, in case you are wondering, I have a great site that you can always go to. If you don't know about it, I'll just go ahead and pop it up on the screen here. And you can obviously visit that later. And that site is really cool. And that is Believe, Believe, meachieve.com. And you'll be able to watch past videos. You'll be able to check out Jason Academy business coaching videos. You'll be able to see Super Motivational Friday with John. You'll be able to learn about my other companies and some of the different lessons I teach there. Today, we had a very interesting lesson, which will actually be rolled out next month. We were talking about the importance of how a business can avoid hefty fines from the IRS, from the state, and simple things like filing on time and keeping track of things and making sure you understand can really keep you out of harm's way. I know I learned the hard way by getting fined. In fact, if you have a corporation, it's actually $220 penalty per month for every month that you do not file. There are penalties for sales and use tax not being filed on time, not as much interest, and there's also penalties for not filing your state and federal withholdings and payroll taxes. That's very, very important. So if you're going to do things yourself, make sure you understand when they have to be filed. For example, sales tax has to be filed every quarter by the 20th. So January, February, March, April, May, June. So the end of June will be paid anytime at the end of June. The last day it can be paid, but it has to be paid and filed by June 20th. Now, a little trick. As long as you file it by June 20th before midnight, you are not late. Even if you haven't made the payment, the state will send you out a document stating that you didn't pay. You will not be charged any penalties, and you will have 30 days to pay that. Little cool thing, right? Pretty neat. So let's move on to the next thing, which is noticing your beliefs. Okay, noticing your beliefs and your thoughts make them so. So I'm going to say your beliefs, but your thoughts make them so. So noticing your thoughts make them so. Now, what does that mean in a nutshell? Well, it's pretty easy. When we notice our thoughts, it is I'll call it the power of our choice to be mindful and how it can direct our life's path. You know, simple exercises can make you aware of your thought patterns. You know, one thing that's really cool, and we're actually going to talk about it tomorrow, but one that's really cool is that when you write things down or when you pay attention to what's going on and you're conscious of it, you are more likely to be aware of something than something that was autonomous or through a habit. See, a lot of people have bad habits, and the reason they have them is they're formed because they're doing something over and over again, and before they know it, it just becomes, like autonomous. It becomes second nature. And it's great to form good habits, but it's often hard to break bad habits. And when we break a bad habit, we want to replace it. For example, if somebody is smoking, we want to replace it with chewing gum or having fruit or taking a walk, right? Substituting something, because it's hard to just get rid of a habit. You got to replace it with something. Another habit I had when I was younger, I would always pull up my socks. So how did I get over that? Well, one thing, I would make sure my socks are on correctly and then they weren't stretched. And I would just leave them where they are. And I was just like, they're comfortable. I don't need to keep touching them. And I got over that habit in less than a year or two. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's very important that you understand this phenomenon that I'm talking about tonight, and knowing how we can use simple exercises to make us aware, like writing things down. When something comes to your mind and you're doing something, ask yourself, what am I doing? Stop yourself. Harnessing the power of positive thinking is so very key. And visualizing is also very key. Daily affirmations are key. But using affirmations that state, I have, okay? Not I will, state it in the present, like I am healthy and financially abundant, okay? And feel that abundance. Even if it may not be in your wallet right now, I want you to feel the state, because you see, it's the states that cause our brain to go into a chemical response, and that's what gets our body to feel good. That's what gets us to want to do something. And I'm going to share one with you tomorrow. I'm not going to share it tonight, but I want you to know that this is very real, ladies and gentlemen. You start out with the most important thing, which is understanding potential comes from perceptions. Potential comes from the perceptions we see, hear, and experience in our world. Those perceptions then become our reality. Whether they are right or whether they are wrong, they become our reality. So it's almost like a theorem in, let's call it geometry, right? For example, I'm just going to give you a real simple one. A standard theorem in geometry is one thing, which a lot of people know, and that is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Does everybody get that? A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay. So another theorem is that the hypotenuse leg, it's called the HL theorem, states that if the hypotenuse and leg of the right triangle is congruent to that of another right triangle, the triangles are congruent. Therefore, we don't have to prove the theorem, but we use the theorems to prove. So we don't have to go proving why the theorem is true, but we use the theorems to actually make our proof in geometry, which I think is really, really cool. Well, you guys know the gist tonight, and that is potentials come from perceptions. Perceptions become a reality, and noticing your thoughts makes them so. And this causes a great catalytic conversion in our brain to empower us because of the chemical reaction. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your evening. And you know what? I'm going to see you guys real soon. So have a fantastic evening, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right? Take care. And remember, what you believe, even if it's wrong, will be your reality. So be careful what you believe and know what you believe before you keep believing it, or you'll put yourself on a path that you do not want to be on. Have yourself a fantastic night, everyone. Take care.